Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie Thomas
And I'm Mary Thomas.
of Thomas and Thomas PC, also known as the Sales Tax Sisters. And today we are going to be talking about
Sales tax collected, not remitted. One of our favorite topics and one of the things that we just hate to see a client do.
exactly. So when we talk about sales tax collected, not remitted, it is basically what what the phrase is. That is when you actually collect sales tax from your customers, but for whatever reason, the money that you collected doesn't make its way to the controller's office.
Or to the taxing authority's office. And this, we say controller because we're in Texas.
Yes, that's
but
my
we're
default.
but we're talking about state taxing authorities everywhere. This is what happens. When you register to collect sales and use tax, you basically have a contract with that taxing authority. You are acting as a fiduciary for the money that you collect. And basically that means that you have a duty to turn in any money to a taxing authority if you represent that you're collecting tax on that authority's behalf. So some people will think if I put a line for sales tax on the bottom of my invoice, it's not a big deal. Well, yeah, it is a big deal because what you're doing when you put that line item on your invoice is you are taking on a responsibility that you're going to turn that money into the taxing authority when that person pays you that amount of money.
And if you're ever audited, one of the first things that the auditor does is look at whether or not you remitted the appropriate amount of sales tax. If they find out that you charge your customer sales tax, but you didn't send everything into the controller's office or the local taxing authority, wherever you are, they take a dim view of that.
It's a fraud.
Exactly.
It's a fraud. And the thing about it is that when you get audited, and you can go in and if you just make a simple mistake, you can go in and you can say, hey, we all waive penalty on this because this was just a simple mistake. I didn't know I was supposed to charge tax or I didn't know I was supposed to pay tax. And depending on the nature of your account, whether or not you've been filing timely, whether or not, they think you've acted in good faith, they may waive penalty. They are not going to waive penalty if you collected money on the state's behalf and you did not give it to them.
Exactly.
Because you have committed a fraud. And it's really important for everyone who has business across state lines. If you are registered to collect Texas tax, that does not mean that you are registered to collect tax in Louisiana or Arizona or Oklahoma. That is, you have an account with the Texas Controller of Public Accounts. So wherever you're registered, it doesn't carry over to another state. So you shouldn't be telling your clients in any other state that you're collecting the tax that is due in their jurisdiction. They will have to take care of that on their own. And that is them paying use tax directly to their taxing authority if, in fact, what they are purchasing is taxable. That's none of your business if you weren't registered there.
But the big thing about tax collected not remitted, and I can speak specifically on Texas, is that there are huge penalties when you get audited and an auditor discovers that you did not remit in the sales tax that you were paid, by your customer. So make sure that when you are collecting sales tax, that is a very clear trail when you file your sales and use tax return, that your sales and use tax accrual account, that everything flows appropriately, and it's very easy for everyone to know that you remit the appropriate sales tax when you filed your sales and use tax return.
And if you're taking any kind of discount, a prepayment discount, a timely filing discount, make sure that your accrual account very accurately and clearly reflects that you did take that discount so that it doesn't look like you underpaid the taxes to the taxing authority. And one thing that I did say that I want to clarify is that if you're not registered to collect sales or use tax in a jurisdiction, there are some places that require you to have something on your invoice that says use tax may be due. So just as the best practice when you're putting together your invoice, even if you can't collect tax from your client in another jurisdiction, it's not going to hurt to have that little statement on the bottom of your invoice that says, use tax may be due.
And the other thing is that depending on whether you're cash basis or accrual basis, that affects the amount of money that you send to the controller's office as it relates to sales and use tax collected, things like that. So just keep that in mind as well.
And we'll talk about that, cash basis versus accrual basis, in another video. But for purposes of this video, the focus really is, if you are collecting a state's sales or use tax, make sure you have a clear trail and you can show where you turned all of the collections in. And if you didn't turn all the collections in, have a clear trail as to why. And usually that falls into 3 categories: a prepayment discount, a timely filing discount, or you returned something, somebody returned something to you, or something to do with a bad debt.
Exactly. But make sure that it's been documented and it's easy to explain, because you do not want to fool with the controller's office or whatever jurisdiction you're in about tax collected, not remitted.
And like Stephanie said, we'll talk about the different types of cash basis versus accrual basis, because it does impact this. But the basic story here is, if you said you collected it,
send the money in.
Turn it in.
That's right.
So with that,
I think that's it.
That's it. One of our shorter videos.
Yes, and if you have any comments, please put them in the comment section. We also want to thank everyone who subscribed. Our subscriptions are going up, so we really, really appreciate it. We also love feedback from everybody. If you haven't subscribed, please press the button. And if you like the video, give us a thumbs up.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.